That's the good stuff.
Welcome back, everybody, to Goodwill Podcasting with Dan and Stone, your movie and TV podcast that today is talking about Pluribus. Yes, the Vince Gilligan-led Apple TV series has finally come to an end for its season 1, and we are here to talk about it today. There's a lot of stuff going on in this, a lot of unanswered questions that we hope will get into season 2. It has been greenlit, but we're not talking about it just with ourselves, just the two of us. No, we have gone out in the world past the hive mind to find survivors, to find people who are not part of this AI brain of a world. And we have found them. And what do you know? It's a couple of friends of ours, people we've had on the podcast before, notably for Predator and Alien, but now we got Pluribus, and it's LP Longmire and Jimmy Movie Deathblow. Jimmy, how did you what happened after the we, I would want to call them, came to you and they said, would you want to be one of us? Would you be part of this hive mind?
I told them I wouldn't fit in. I was like, I was like, I don't care about this whole hive mind. I've seen the Borg. This doesn't really do anything for me. If I got to be a robot, I'd be totally into it.
Okay. It's fair.
LP, why did you say no?
You know, I mean, I'm kind of like that one. I can't think of that character's name. The guy that wears the white tux or whatever, and he's just, getting all the ladies. I don't know. It's kind of like the.
I can't pronounce it. Kumba or Kumba.
Oh,
yeah,
so
Kumba,
you would be in Vegas. You would be in Vegas.
I'd be living the high life,
But like, hey, they're not that bad. It's pretty cool. I know why Dan, because these are pretty nice people now that are in the world, and Dan's been a little bit too critical of some stuff. So I feel like they would just be like, we don't need him part of us right now. We'll wait.
Dan McCullough is one of those strokes where it's like, 8 million people just died.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
So I have been texting LP about this. I don't think you know this, Jimmy, but I know Dan does. What is your guys' relationship with Vince Gilligan? And like obviously Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. What I was referring to, Jimmy, is the fact that I am currently making my way through Breaking Bad for the very first time right now. So these are two very different shows. Obviously both set in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's been interesting watching these simultaneously. Also, one thing I found out, and I wanted to ask you guys, you probably do, you're smart fellers, but do you know the only movie that Vince Gilligan, besides El Camino, you know it? What has he written?
One of my favorite movies of all time, Hancock.
Did you know that? Do you guys know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, we got one person. All right.
I love that.
Anyways, what do you guys think about Breaking Bad? I don't know who wants to go. It was a life-changing.
Where are you at?
Where are you in Breaking Bad?
Okay. I am at the beginning of season 4 right now. So it's funny because when I talk to my brother, he's like, oh, you've gotten to this, right? And I'm like, no. He's like, oh shit. Well, that happens in like one more episode. So what is happening is spoilers for Breaking Bad, if anybody's listening to this, but I feel like everyone's watched the series besides me. Jesse is having a hard time processing the fact that he killed Gale. And he is just basically has no purpose in life, sitting around having frat house parties at his place, drugs, money everywhere. And then Walt is simultaneously trying to get the upper edge on Gus because he doesn't like that Gus has control over him. So that is where I'm at. I was texting LP about this. I still personally think that the highlight of the show so far, personally for me, has been when Walt let Jane die. I was like, that is a character, because it's something such that a character would do that it made me frustrated. Well, it's just such a fascinating person because he wants what's best for Jesse, but he also wants to get certain things out of him, and just letting that happen was perfect. And I found this out. My brother told me this. A lot of people do not like the first episode that was directed by Rian Johnson, which is called The Fly, because I think out of the entire series, it is the one that sticks out because it is just Jesse and Walt in one location. And the thing that stuck out the most to me, and I was like freaking out, is Walt gets pretty high on some like sleeping medication that Jesse gave him. And he almost confesses that he was there when Jane died. He doesn't though. And I thought he was going to, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of just spoiled something for me. I think I texted LP this. I was looking through Vince Gilligan's IMDb, and something's like Walt's funeral, and I'm like, oh, well, probably shouldn't have seen that. But that was one thing that I figured happened at the end of the show, and I kind of knew happened. But yeah,
I don't think you really.
Maybe.
I don't think that much.
I don't think you spoiled what you think you spoiled. But
yeah, you really did. So, like, I won't tell you what happens, but I had Breaking Bad spoiled for me when I lived in California. My roommate was watching it in the living room, and I just happened to look over. And I was like, oh, what the fuck happened to that guy? And then when me and my wife were going back and we were watching the show, like, as it was all, like, we binge watched this on Netflix to get to, like, even with TV at the time. And then I was like, I'm watching it happen. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen right here, because it's the one time I actually looked at the screen when it was going to happen. It was like this huge moment in the show and everything like that. But like, I came to Vince way before Breaking Bad, because I watched the X-Files with my dad when I was younger and everything like that. It was the X-Files and then the Lone Gunman. We would watch it every Friday, and then they moved it to Sunday. So that's where I first came to know him. And he was a writer on this show that I absolutely love called Robbery Homicide, that was only on the air for 1 year. What the hell was his name? It was like a Michael Mann produced show, but Tom Sizemore was like the main character, and it was very well reviewed. It got like great critical acclaim, and then like it just got canceled because Law and Order SVU was just better than it. So that was that.
Yeah,
I'm jealous that you're watching it again, or that you're watching it for the first time. You know what I mean? Such a great show. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say I don't watch a ton of TV. Like I feel like with movies, I'm always trying to like just watch something that I haven't seen before. There's so much I'd like to watch and so many kind of blind spots I have. But I used to watch a lot more TV, and Breaking Bad is one of the only shows I've ever rewatched. Like when I read a book or watch a TV show, I'm like, I go through it, I absorb it, like I'm done with it, and I move on to something else. But I rewatched Breaking Bad, I've rewatched Game of Thrones, and I've rewatched Peaky Blinders, I think twice, but outside of that, nothing else. But I love Breaking Bad, and I think like I don't remember if we've talked before about like tropes we enjoy and stuff, but like I love watching terrible people kind of disintegrate. Like that's one of my favorite things to watch as in terms of like a trope. And I think it's like it's such a good Greek tragedy. To just sit back and observe, and I think Walt's such an interesting character, and I truly think like I've always thought he never really cared about anything besides himself. Like I think it's he may have told himself, I'm doing this to leave money, for the family, but I think he just had this idea of something he wanted to be before he was gone, and just decided to do it, and didn't really care about what else happened along the way. But it's great. I mean, Mike Ehrmantraut is one of my favorite characters ever in anything. So love him as well.
Agreed.
Oh, is that Jonathan Banks?
Yeah.
I just saw a scene where him and Walt approaches him in a bar, and he's like, you should do a better job. You're trying to tail someone. But then Walt's like, yo, we can like work together. We can get the upper hand. And then Mike just like punches him in the face and kicks him. And he's like, are we done here? And just walks away.
Yeah. I always said I felt like Walt looks at Mike and like wants to grow up and be him. Like I feel like he's the guy that Walt is pretending he is, and I just always enjoy him.
The show is so well casted, so it's just.
I was just about to say my favorite performance is I love Dean Norris. I love Hank, and I like his. They're not rocks. They're minerals. Everyone keeps calling it like a little collection rocks. It's very funny. I'm glad that Marie's shoplifting and thievery has come back. I just got done. I believe we just watched the episode called Open House, where she was going to different open houses and just randomly stealing stuff because he just has a really bad problem. But yeah, I did not expect Hank's paralysis plot twist turn. That has been something very, very unexpected. And then it's bummer just to see him just chilling there, but someone just brought over a file about something that's going on. So I think he's about to get back into the DEA of things.
I feel okay asking this because I know you already know this, Stone, but is that show was that your all's introduction to Jesse Plemons? Because it was for me.
So funny that you mentioned that. Still, I know he's in it. He has not come up yet, and I'm waiting for him to come up.
It takes a while. Yeah.
I thought I saw him in something before that where he was like a kid or something, but I don't remember what it was.
Was he in Friday Night Lights before or after?
That was a big deal. I have not watched Friday Night Lights, but that was a big deal because that's why, or a main thing
Movie
they talked
or
about
show?
on the show, because
The
the
show.
actors on actors, Michael B. Jordan and Jesse Plemons were both in Friday Night Lights.
Wow. Okay.
So when they sat across from each other, they're like, dude, look
They
at
knew
us
each
now.
other. Oh wow. That's
look how
awesome.
far we've come, man.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever saw him. He was in Varsity Blues. He's Paul Walker's little brother in that movie. That's the first time I was like, this kid looks weird. That's the only reason I ever remembered it.
Yeah, his career has blown up. It's crazy.
Good for him. He's gonna be freaking Hunger Games next year. I know that's like gonna be a good
Do we-
popcorn movie.
Do we
but
think he's going to get the gold this year at the Oscars? Do we think he's going to get it for Begonia? What do you think?
No.
He
probably
should. He should.
he's not even
I agree.
projected, I think, to get nominated, which is a bummer.
This is his year. It should happen.
I think it's the best performance
I agree.
for a lead.
I agree.
Like personally,
Just me,
I
I
think-
would have nominated him for Civil War, and I know he was only in it for that one scene, but that scene was so fantastic that I loved it that much. And look, it's not unheard of to be in a movie for 5 minutes and get nominated. William Hurt did it for History of Violence. He was in it for 2 scenes, and he was incredible in it.
Yeah, I think the predictions right now are Michael B. Jordan, Wagner Moura, Ethan Hawke, Timothy
Leo and
Chalamet,
Timmy,
and Leonardo DiCaprio. So I don't think he's getting in there, unfortunately, even though
Dan,
he should.
Dan, did you see The Secret Agent or no?
Yeah.
Wagner Moura? Was it? Did you see it at the film festival or no?
yeah, it's a good movie. There's something missing. Like there's something just. It's also very strange. Like there's like a surreal element that I won't spoil. That's like really weird. Like it's a weird movie. Like it's kind of darkly funny. It's very subversive. I thought the ending was terrible. It's definitely a good movie. I think it's a good performance, but it's not like an Oscar-winning performance. To me, of that group, I watched Blue Moon today. Ethan Hawke was so good. Like I can't. It's not even really a story that I was really that invested in, but he was amazing. And again, I think of that group like he would be my pick of those 5. It's a good movie. So.
I'm going to see it at some point. Both of them, Blue Moon and The Secret Agent.
Yeah.
Have you guys, me and LP talked about it. I know he hasn't watched it, but have you guys seen Better Call Saul?
Yes, I did. I didn't care for the earlier seasons. I think it got better late. Everybody loved it regardless. I was one of the people that was like, I'm really bored by this whole Jimmy and his brother storyline. I just wanted to do something else. And then like once they started moving into like him on the run and stuff like that, and maybe he's going to get captured and getting back into life. That's when that show got super interesting for me. But the first 2 seasons, I was like, I don't care about this class action lawsuit in the least bit. I don't know why. I just don't care about it at all. Why are we doing this? Like he's really good in it, and his brother, I think Michael McKean played him, who was also in the X-Files. Like they were awesome, but I just didn't care for the story.
And that's a prequel, right?
No, it's sorry, but it takes place in 2 different times. So like,
okay,
when he flashes back, he's Jimmy, but then you're also seeing Saul like after. Well, I can't. You'll
okay. I would say I can. It's so funny. We live in a day and age where everyone all the time is thinking about spinoffs. And when Breaking Bad, debuted back in 2008 and 2010, 2011, I mean, spinoffs have always been kind of a thing. But as soon as freaking Saul Goodman pops on the screen, he is just such a ball of energy and such a memorable character that you can tell there's so much more to him and so many different people that he has connections with. And you're like, I just want to know what this guy is doing all day long. And I just think he was the perfect character for it, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen from him in Breaking Bad.
I think he feels like a.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think he feels like a very real, tangible person, which I think makes it fun.
It's funny when you go back and watch Breaking Bad, like the first time you see Saul, and then when you compare it to what he looks like in Better Call Saul, they look like 2 entirely different people. It doesn't even look like Bob Odenkirk.
There's a moment where he says that he tried to impress a girl by telling her that he was Kevin Costner, and I looked at Bob Odenkirk's face, he kind of looks like Kevin Costner. I don't know if it was just the words that were being spoken.
No, he
I'm
does. 100%.
Yeah, I was like, I could
That's
kind of
funny.
see it. But yeah, one of my favorite moments with him is, which by the way, I did not expect the turn that has happened with Skylar, because it's very funny because I have only heard things about Breaking Bad, right? And I remember Dan talking about the fact like Skylar hate isn't justified. Y'all are morons. And then my brother visits me. He's like, man, I fucking hate Skylar. I was like, all right, let me put these pieces together, and I want to form my own opinion. I don't know if I necessarily have one just yet. I don't love that she cheated on Walt, but speaking of that, I think his name is Ted. He hasn't been in the show. He hasn't been in the show now for like 10 to 12 episodes. I haven't seen him in a while. I'm not sure if he'll come back, but I did not expect the development of her character when it comes to protecting Ted's books and making sure the illegal things that he does are taken care of, to translate into her doing that for Walt and wanting to buy a car wash and wanting her to operate that. The reason why I brought that up is because one of my favorite lines from Saul is she's like, why are we trying to buy Walt a laser tag place? Like, why does that make sense? He goes, science, lasers. That's something he would do. I was like, that's pretty funny.
I totally didn't notice that Bill Burr was in that show. Like the first time he came in there, I was like, all right. And then like I'm looking more at him, like, is that Bill Burr? It took like 2 or 3 times for it to actually register that it was him.
I think people have a really strong emotional reaction to her cheating on him, but like, if you don't want to get cheated on, like, don't be emotionally abusive. That's a good tip for life. Like, he's a piece of shit, and like when you act like a piece of shit for that long, that's what happened. Like, that's life. I mean, oftentimes. So like, I just couldn't really get that hurt about it.
Yeah, I just thought Breaking Bad was such a perfect show. I couldn't bring myself to watch because I got annoyed because I thought AMC, there was like a pocket of time there where AMC, in my opinion, was on its way to be like what Apple TV has become today. It's like they're just doing all of this original content, like in the very beginning. And with Walking Dead, and then eventually they just devolved into we're the sequel network. And I
like
just
4
was
or 5 Walking Dead shows.
Yeah, and I just got, there was like a moment in time they were going to do a Mad Men spinoff, and I was like, dude, I'm not going to watch this Better Call Saul bullcrap. Forget that. And then, like a lot of like Jimmy, like a lot of people were telling me it's actually really good. It's actually a really good show, and I was like, but I don't know. Maybe one day I'll bring myself to it, but I just have never.
I stopped watching. I got like 3 seasons in, and I just it was good for sure, but I was just like, I don't care that much. So.
Yeah.
And you said it got better towards the end, Jimmy, right?
Yeah. But like the difference, I can't stop watching something once I've started it. Like I need to see. I can't just be like I can't just. I've only given up on like one show ever, and it was that Apple show Invasion that I just didn't care about with the aliens. I was like, I watched it for like 2.5 seasons. I was like, yeah, this is enough for me. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But yeah, But like Better Call Saul, like I was like, everyone's like, it's phenomenal. It's the greatest show ever. I was like, it's okay. And then like as it progressed towards its finale, I was like, yeah, all right, this is good. Whatever the first, I didn't care about anything in like the first 2 seasons, but this is good.
Yeah, it's interesting that you guys are bringing up Apple TV because I feel like that's a perfect transition into talking about. I wrote it on our outline, the Emmys, not the Emmys. I meant the Golden Globes. The Emmy nominations don't come out until like July, I believe. But Pluribus is nominated in the Best Television Series category for drama, and it only has 2 nominations. It has this, and it also has Best Actress in a Drama Series for Racy Horn. The competition that it's up against, I'm curious how many of these shows that you guys have seen. 3 of them are Apple TV shows. Severance, I know that we've all seen Severance.
I wonder.
One of us has like kids from Severance, which is crazy but true. Literally, kids. And then Pluribus, Severance, Slow Horses, which I've heard is actually really phenomenal.
Slow Horses.
And then we got
phenomenal.
The Diplomat, The Pit, and The White Lotus, which I've watched the first. There's only 3 seasons of The White Lotus, I believe, right?
That's an LP question, but yeah.
Okay, I said oh no. I thought he was getting his goat.
It's got the Severance box with the uncomfortable AirPods they all gave us that killed my ears.
You know what's funny is the AirPods. You mentioned the AirPods.
Oh my God, they're horrible.
My wife saw LP's video and this is, I promise you, this is the only time that my wife has ever done this. She saw that and she's like, "You've made a couple videos about Severance, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have." She's like, "How have those been performing?" I'm like, "They're doing okay." She goes, "You think you can like an email and maybe get that box?" I was like,
I would
"I
have
don't
given it to
necessarily
you.
think so." It's fine. I'll get it on season 3.
I was like, ooh, AirPods, and I put them in. I was like, these are horrible. I am never wearing these AirPods again. Sorry, Apple.
I use them every day, so thank you.
Oh
Apple.
my God.
I do too. I do too. Yeah.
They killed my ears. I'm like, I'm going back to my original ones.
LP, Jimmy said it was a question for you. Is the White Lotus on season 3 now? They just finished season 3, right?
Oh my gosh, what a question. 3 or 4? Is it 3? Okay, yeah. I
think so.
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit overrated, to be honest. I think it's good. I watched the first and second season. I have not watched this third season. So I just feel like it's one of those shows, kind of like The Bear, that just always gets nominated no matter what.
Yeah.
And I find that a little bit interesting. But yeah, have you guys watched The Pit, Slow Horses, The Diplomat, or The White Lotus, the new season?
I watched them all but The White Lotus.
So okay, so this is for best drama
series.
It would be so, in my opinion, just based off what you just said, The Pit deserves it. The Pit I think it's phenomenal.
I really, really need and want to watch it. It was funny because I was waiting for my wife to watch
Dude,
it.
you're like the guy to watch it.
Yeah, I know.
That's
my wife,
crazy.
I was waiting for her because it's a medical show. I mean, she's a nurse. I picked her up from work today, and I was like, "You want to watch this, right?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "I feel that every single day when I'm at work."
You know
I
what? That makes sense. That
feel
makes
more anxiety.
Yeah.
I just watched Marty Supreme. I love anxiety inducing like content or movies and TV series and stuff like that. So I would dig that. When we got done watching Marty Supreme, she was like, "I didn't like that." It's just that feeling that it's just so tense, and I'm like, yes, give it to me. The Social Network's my favorite movie all time. I feel like that's a little bit like that, just a wee bit like that. But
The Pit it's brutal. I mean, it's brutal to watch. There are some scenes in that show where you're like, oh man, I don't know. Like, it doesn't bother me, but like if I was like looking at somebody next to me and they were watching it, like, wow, I don't even want to see anything that happens after this. There's like live childbirth going on that like looks like it's actually real in there, and you're like, and you know, people complain about that on the internet. You're like, why are you giving me PTSD if I ever have a child? That's going to happen to me. But like, the show is so engulfing, and the fact that they did 15 episodes of the show and everybody loved every minute of it, a weekly release, was great.
Yeah.
That's why I'm about to watch it, is because they're literally about to come out with season 2, and I'm like, I got to get on this real quick so I can, talk about season 2 when it comes out.
You can get the screeners on a weekly basis, Stone.
Yes, I probably can. Thank you. I'm also really happy for Noah Wild. Now, Noah Wild was part of ER, right, with George Clooney.
Yeah.
I did not watch him in that. I didn't watch a whole lot of TV growing up, but one series that I did watch, and it kind of fell off towards the end, but I watched Falling Skies with him.
Yeah, I was watching on TNT. Yeah.
Yeah, like a sci-fi show on TNT. And I remember, I don't know the actor's name, but I grew up watching Lost as well. And I freaked out because freaking John Locke all of a sudden popped up in like the 3rd or 4th season. I'm like, holy shit.
Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go. That was like my hype moment. That was my like Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm like, there's a Lost actor in the show that I'm watching. And I
saw a video of him very recently, and he's so old looking, and I was like, oh no, like really, because I love Lost. That was like one of my favorite shows ever, and it's just so sad seeing your like favorite actors get old.
Yeah, so we're thinking The Pit probably. I mean, at the Emmys, I believe that's what happened. I think that The Pit won, and also Noah Wild got it as well.
That's who I think would get it. I mean, that's not like my person, but that's just who I think. That's my gut feeling. It'd be The Pit.
Okay. And it's disappointing because Diego Luna is nominated for Best Actor, but sadly, Andor is just not nominated. Yeah. And it was crazy because I looked up, I was trying to look up best, top 25 television series of the entire year. A lot of lists had Andor at number 1. And wow, that's cool for a Star Wars show, but a bummer that it's not getting recognized more. It hasn't
Sci-fi always gets the short end of the stick. They really don't want to recognize that in certain aspects.
All of you loved Andor. I did not watch it, so I just can't speak on it. But here's my question, because I'm someone who fundamentally thinks Star Wars is broken. I just don't think it. I just don't even know what they could even do. But in your opinion, is Andor like the move? Is that like that kind of style, that direction, like that? Like who is the showrunner of that? Who did that?
Tony
like,
Gilroy.
Yeah. I don't know if you could do it again. Like, I think you'd have to find a different way to do like SP. Like, I think it could only work with this character and like this aspect of it. I don't.
So
think
that's
you
why
can
it
do
works. It's like a pocket story. It only
Yeah.
works this way. You can't do it any other. Okay.
I don't necessarily agree. I think like it's a show for adults, right? All this stuff's been like all this shit has been for kids. Like
Yeah.
and adults might just happen to like it. If they said we're gonna make stuff for adults, like what I would like them to do, like go back to the formation of the Jedi and just start over. Just give me the formation of the Jedi, the formation of the Sith, all of that. Make movies for 20 years about that. Like and make them more serious. Like
Yeah.
They don't want to bring the extended universe in is the thing, so you might have to, do a
this
clean
shit isn't
reset.
working. I don't need Starfighter with Ryan Gosling. Like I like what are we doing? Like I just I don't know. I think they need to completely start fresh. But I think tonally you could make stuff that's that serious and make it for adults and maybe make the budgets a little lower and
I would
Yeah,
watch
almost
it.
do like a Battlestar Galactica, but in the Star Wars
Yeah.
universe, like that kind of thing. Yeah, that would be really cool.
I would watch a Saw Gerrera spinoff just by myself. That's just me. I just like the partisans and everything like that. Just because that dude's out of his mind and he doesn't give a shit anymore. So
you need to do this.
let me just correct something. I liked Andor. The first 3 episodes of each season were like, I was like, I don't care. Like, just move this along. And then once it starts to get going, it's incredible. But the first 3 seasons of episode 1, I was like, Jesus Christ. Because they released them all at once. I was like, I don't even understand what's happening in the show anymore. And then once they got to like the prison, it was great. And then season 2, it was really slow. And then it got really good once we started moving around and we got to Gorman and everything like that. Not that LP knows what I'm talking about, but
I think
This sounds good.
I think like the thing about Star Wars is you can do so many things with it. Like I know a buddy of ours, Sean Modern Mythos, he says that, and a lot of people agree with him, like Star Wars thrives in animation. Like a lot of people think that Clone Wars is possibly the best thing that Star Wars has ever done. And then you have Andor, which a lot of people say that Andor is the best thing that Star Wars has ever done. 2 very, very different genres, but still, I mean, I haven't watched it, but I've heard that Clone Wars also gets super serious.
yeah.
I think what they should do with like the Old Republic into like the formation of the Jedi, the tone, and you were saying, Jimmy, there's so much lore that goes along with it. I think you can create a story with so much lore that it makes sense. And if people care enough, they'll do the research themselves and figure it out and gain the information and the knowledge that they want to about the source material. And I think the example that you look at of that happening right now is with the Dune movies. The Dune movies are so serious, but at times they're very popcorn, entertaining flicks that have so much lore and backstory behind all the planets and the families and everything like that. But it all works together. And I think that you could take that. It kind of feels like Andor. There's a lot of very serious stuff at Dune, and you could do that with Star Wars.
Then you go to like Dune Prophecy. I don't know if you guys watched that on HBO Max, and it was just kind of like people just didn't understand what it was. And like you're making the Harkonnens the main character, and they're such unlikable people that it's just like I was like, I'm kind of rooting for everybody else but the main characters of the show because I hate this woman already. So it's like,
yeah, I never got around to watching that, but I have not heard great things.
But like my dream job is the guy that does the voiceover in the beginning of Star Wars Clone Wars, like General Obi-Wan Kenobi takes Anakin Skywalker. I want to do that just for an episode. I love that guy.
Imagine if that was the opening to every Pluribus episode. Ray Seahorn also still fucking hates these guys. Or no, Carol.
That one guy is still in Paraguay. He's making his way here, but he may have fallen on a tree with big spikes sticking out of it. We don't know, and somehow he has an ambulance.
Jimmy, you could do the voicemail. That voicemail that we heard so many times this season. It's like, sorry, Carol, we're keeping our distance. Yeah,
we're keeping our distance, Carol.
Oh man! Every time that popped, okay, we'll get into it. I was like, "Good lord, I gotta listen to that thing again."
The guy that was the best was the guy that was like the Undersecretary of Agriculture. That was like, "We're on TV right now. I'm talking to you, Carol."
yeah.
He's like, he was the only one available at the moment.
Did you guys before we get into Pluribus, Apple TV, did you guys ever watch The Studio? Because I think that's a sweep with comedy. I think that's going to easily sweep everything up.
It's so funny and so accurate. Like if you've ever worked in the business, the episode where he goes on set and everyone's like, "We really don't want you here, but we have to have you here," and then he messes up the whole shot at the end is so accurate. And when they're at the Golden Globes and Sal Saperstein is just getting thanked and everything, I was like, That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen."
Yeah, that speaking of not finishing things, that is one that I got like 4 or 5 episodes into, and I just stopped for some reason. I don't know why, but I did get to the Kool-Aid thing, and when every single time a ridiculous movie gets announced, everyone's like, it's literally the Kool-Aid pitch of a movie in real life from The Studio.
I would totally watch Scorsese's Kool-Aid though with Jim Jones. That would be an
100%. Yeah.
Jimmy, have you watched The Player with Robert Altman's The Player?
I don't think so. I'd have to. It sounds familiar, but I get The Player confused with The Gambler all the time. So it's like
you should watch it. People have said it's a lot like The Studio.
I've never seen it. The Tim Robbins one. No, I've never.
Please watch it. Yeah, it's very good.
Dan, did you watch The Studio? Like, did you die when Ted Sarandos was in that episode? Or no?
I didn't watch it.
They're like, Ted, how do you get everyone to thank you all the time? He's like, I put it in their contracts that they have to thank me if they win awards.
I hate that guy.
You know what's cool is that like Dan's saying like he didn't watch it. Like I don't watch series a whole lot. Like it does take a lot of time, but I do think that the weekly releases really help. It's only 1 hour out of your week, and then you could talk about it. I mean, that's how Alien Earth is. Like I like that we have this opportunity to talk about Pluribus, even though we mostly talk about movies. All right, let's get into it. I got a synopsis here. Oh, let me put this banner up there. Wow, look at me, I'm on it. All right. Pluribus is a Vince Gilligan sci-fi series about an extraterrestrial virus that creates a global, peaceful hive mind, leaving only a few immune individuals like cynical author Carol Sturka to fight for individuality against forced bliss, exploring themes of freedom versus collective happiness. This is AI bullshit. I'm not going to start reading it. But yeah, that's the idea behind Pluribus.
Ironic,
Dan, as I was reading it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to read 3 or 4 sentences here. So I made a little outline here. I think that Jimmy might be the lowest of all of us on the show. So I thought it'd be interesting if he went last in our just spoiler-free review. But Mr. LP, you're the guest who will go first. What did you, in a spoiler-free way, what did you think about season 1 of Pluribus?
I really liked it. I think it's doing what a lot of Vince Gilligan shows do, which is push against traditional storytelling expectations. I think that's what I really like about his style. I remember a while back watching an interview with him where he was talking about how they wrote Breaking Bad, saying that they would intentionally write themselves into corners with absolutely no idea or forethought on how the characters in the next episode would possibly get out of it. And I think that's why this series is so compelling. Because you can tell he's doing it with that same train of thought, like they're challenging themselves with this entire series. Because on paper, it lacks a lot of things that one might expect in a compelling story pitch, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't have a clear hook. There's not a ton of mystery, considering a catastrophic world-ending event that happens, and it's pretty much explained to us in the very beginning of the story. What's concerning is like it doesn't really have a compelling antagonist either, like beyond an abstract collective consciousness that Carol finds herself in conflict with, if you can even call it conflict, because they're always trying to help her and not hurt her, and so I feel like in theory this show should be a train wreck, but for some reason I could not stop watching, and I just cannot wait to see, like, every week I'm just like, I can't wait to see where this keeps going, so yeah, I was very positive on it.
Dan, what you got?
I think I'm glad you just said that, LP, because I think like when Vince was writing Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, especially Breaking Bad, he got burnt out writing villains. Like he got burnt out writing terrible people, and I think he was looking for almost a palate cleanser where he could have this villainous force, right, that isn't in any way isn't isn't a villain or evil in any kind of mustache twirling way, but I think that's what makes the show so interesting because they are antagonistic, right? Obviously, and we're seeing that, you know, people have had very different views on whether or not they are. I think, thankfully, thank God, the last episode, Jesus Christ, man,
Can you
some of the
imagine?
stuff I've seen about this show has made me reevaluate. I wanted to delete all social media and just lay
Yo,
down
the
in the
hive
hole.
mind's
And
chill, bro. They're chill. It's all right.
it's not to go off on a tangent. It's one of the scariest takes I've ever seen. Like in terms of how things are right now. I don't know if it's just because things are so bad. Um, and I obviously understand like there are people with, lives that are a lot more difficult than us and a million other problems, and I understand that, but I'm just the loss of free will. Like free will is what we have, right? It's what everyone has. And I just have been confused at some of the takes I've seen about this show. But anyway, it's
Wait,
it's
wait, wait.
very
Can you touch on that? Because I don't even.
there
I'm
there,
sure.
there
Like,
there's a lot of pro hive mind people out there.
really.
And I think a lot of it was there's a lot of people that just hate Carol, like hate,
Oh,
despise her um as a character. And there are some people who take that hatred to the point of saying she's just in the wrong. Like she's what she was in the beginning of the show when she was just actively, very aggressively fighting back against them and pushing back. They were saying that's wrong. She just wants to maintain her life. She's not thinking about anyone else. What she's doing, like she should just give in because this is taking care of everyone, despite the fact that what, a billion people died, 800 million people
wow.
died when it first happened,
Right.
and everyone is literally enslaved to an alien virus that was mostly acquired by sexually assaulting other people. Like, what are we talking about? Like
Yeah.
it's the stupidest thing I've heard anyone say all year, and I hear people say stupid stuff every day. Like it blew me away. Um
Do you think your algorithm knows that you
That's what I was about to say. Me and you,
like hearing stupid people talk
we're on
and they
different
show you that?
algorithms because that's why I asked you to touch on it because I've not heard that take at all. That's fascinating.
yeah, I mean
I wonder if the algorithm knows that you stitch people like that. They're like, here you go, we'll give you a little bait, Dan.
Here's another stupid person, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I think social media is constructed to give you stuff you either strongly agree with or you absolutely hate. Like that's
Yeah.
what the entire app is built upon. Um which again is ironic. Uh but
Yeah.
anyway, I just it makes for really interesting television. Um, it's also, I mean, the show is a dark comedy, and I love dark comedy. It's very funny. There's a lot of funny, funny moments that come and go. I think all the performances are really good. I think there's a little bit of a problem with the writing of Carol. I think some things have happened where she makes some pretty bizarre decisions. She makes some really after being built up with a lot of nuance, she kind of turns on her heel a lot. And I think what was happening to her was kind of a very steady process. And I think she was kind of getting hit with like propaganda and kind of like seduced over a long period of time. But like she still turns it, she makes such a drastic turn. And um I don't think it was quite properly executed, but it's okay. But I think by the end of the show, like, Manusos is the character that I was hoping Carol was going to be, or at least she looked like she was projecting to be. Um, but I mean, I'm happy to say I think I was wrong with some of the stuff I thought about Carol, which I actually was going to make a video about. But it's interesting because the 10th episode very much it's almost like it was purposely trying to make the people who were pro Hive look foolish and also make the people that were very pro Carol look foolish. And I kind of
Yeah.
like that. Like I
Yeah.
kind of enjoy that. So um I thought the last episode was really strong. Um and it has been a little slow at points, but we were talking about slow stuff with Andor. And I think I was talking about Game of Thrones a bit the other day in relation to Stranger Things, and I think like with stuff like Andor, Game of Thrones, and even Pluribus, I think for any good TV series, it can't all just be go, 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 go. There has to be time to set stuff up. There has to be time to slow down because then when you accelerate, you feel it that much more, right? Like it's like being on a
Yeah.
roller coaster. Um, and if you're just going 1,000 miles an hour the whole time, it loses its impact. Uh, so I think for any good TV series, that's necessary. But people always seem to complain when there are episodes like that, and I'm just like, just let the show cook. Like let it be, let it build. And like there's an episode that we'll talk about here that I think laid out everything that this first season had to say about the two main characters, if you want to say that.
It's actually kind of fascinating watching, just to, piggyback off that, like Pluribus and Stranger Things season 5, because Stranger Things season 5 feels like it's written by someone with ADHD, where it's just like go 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 go, and then when they finally have a moment where they slow down, it feels weird and jarring.
Yeah.
Like the Max and Holly, you know what I'm talking about, where they're like, it's just so odd. But I think with Pluribus, it's sort of like, I'm like you, I like how it breathes. It lets scenes breathe, lets moments breathe, But I can't wait to hear Jimmy's super positive review.
For me, I want to give some validity, some validation to those people who do think that the show is slow. Dan, you gave the illustrations of the examples of Andor and I think Game of Thrones. What's different about those series than Pluribus is there's multiple characters. There's a lot, even if all the characters' story arcs, storylines are going really slow, you can go back and forth between Mon Mothma and Tyrion Lannister and Daenerys and Andor and stuff like that. One sequence in Andor that I thought was very slow and reminded me an episode in Pluribus is, I won't spoil anything for LP, but there's a sequence at the beginning of season 2 where Andor is on a planet. And I get why he's there, and he meets some people on that planet. And I'm like, okay, I know what Tony Gilroy's trying to show me with this, but I didn't necessarily find it too interesting. The thing about Pluribus, and I'm looking at the cast right here, you really only have like 2 or 3 characters, and one of the characters pops up halfway through the series. So there was an episode where Manusos and is like introduced, and he is trying to get to Carol. I don't want to spoil too much, but that's not really a spoiler. And you're just looking at a day in the life between the two of them, and that's all the episode is. And I get what Vince Gilligan was trying to do. I get what they were trying to do is show these characters and how they interact with the hive mind. And I'm like, oh, I really like this, but 50 minutes of kind of the exact same thing, like driving that point home, felt a little bit repetitive to me. And like I said, it's a different show because you're only following one person. So I think that people, even though they really like it, are like, I can't help but feel that way, if that makes sense. But I was explaining to my friends, my buddy, before I jumped on with you guys, I'm drinking a little bit too. So I'm a little bit tipsy when I was like explaining this to him. But I was like, dude, this show Pluribus, like, holy shit. Like, there's like this like signal that comes from space, and it's like there's 4 of them. So there's like nucleotides in the DNA, and then like, people on Earth are stupid and like, oh, let's repeat this from space. And then it's like everyone's a hive mind. Like, I was freaking out.
Sound like Alex Jones.
Oh
my God.
All right. So that's enough drinking for Stone. But I just think the idea of the show is so fascinating. And Dan, you mentioned the turn that Carol has. I didn't realize what Vince was trying to do with her. I did think she was more like Manusos for the majority of the season. And then when she turned out not to be that way, really towards the end, I found that fascinating. And I thought the introduction of Manusos at the exact time that he was introduced in the show was perfect. Like, let's reset it. Let's show you Carol at the very beginning. And I really, really like that. I like the hive mind. I like the lore behind them. I like how they feed themselves. I like how they're always watching them. I like how they're one step ahead of them at all times. I love the beginning of the second episode and how Zosha comes into the story and why she's there and who she's there to represent in Carol's life. I think that's absolutely hilarious. And like you said, Dan, it's like a very long-term play of the hive mind trying to seduce her into becoming one of them. And I think that's just absolutely fascinating. Nusos, I mean, he has a certain we'll get into it, but he has a certain line about his mother that I think is probably the highlight of the show for me. I think the show it looks beautiful. I mean, especially episode 1 when they're in their little labs and they're like taking the swabs and they're just like infecting everybody. The cinematography and the shots that they're doing, it's just doesn't feel like television. It feels like a movie. And I think that's exceptional, especially coming from Breaking Bad, which Breaking Bad isn't it's not a poorly shot show and it doesn't look bad, but I'm like, oh, Vince has got money now. Vince has got a lot of money. But yeah,
I think the thing that's consistent though is both of them are very creatively like there's always something creative being done with the camera or like just something to keep it fresh and fun. And like I feel like Vince is very playful with the camera and he always is. And I think that like is kind of like something that sets him apart as a TV showrunner.
Can I tell you what I love? And you were saying it as a negative. I love that this show is so debatable. I love that people are like, in a way, it's messed up.
Well, I like that too. I find some takes concerning, but
and sometimes it's idiotic. But I love that you're meeting people who are interacting with this hive mind. Right? She meets the other survivors, the other people who are not infected, and you kind of get their mentality and why they're okay with it. And then there's this huge reveal about something that they're doing. And then they are honest with Carol and they're like, this is why we're doing this. And you're like, that kind of makes sense. It's messed up in a weird way. It's very off-putting, but it does align with what their beliefs are and how they treat the planet and how they're resourceful. And I was like, damn, they got her play. Like they're one step ahead at all times. Like you can't get anything on us. We are a pure people.
And I think to that point, like, every movie, every story is asking a question. And that's what I think is so fascinating about this. It's like no one can agree on what the question is. What is this show asking? You know what I mean? Like, and everybody has like their take, and it's like no one can really. And I'm like you. I love that. I think that's so cool.
Well, let's talk about somebody who might not think this is so cool. Jimmy.
Like it's weird that it's me. It's weird that it's me, right? Because I usually like most things, and like I watched this. I finished it before you guys saw the finale like a month ago at this point. I'm like, I'm watching. I'm like, it's okay. It's a super cool idea. Episode 1 ends. I'm like, where are we gonna go? Episode 2 has still got me. I love when Carol meets with the other survivors and they just can't stand her at all. And especially that lady that constantly just keeps calling her like, what did you do now, Carol? That lady cracks me up, who thinks like her son is real and everything like that. But like we talked about the X-Files and like how Vince Gilliam did. This felt like an X-Files episode that they stretched into 9 episodes somehow. Like it just didn't end. And like I really like Rhea Seehorn, but the best character in the show is Kumba. He's having a blast. If the show was following that guy just doing ridiculous things, like the James Bond card thing is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like he gets the world that he's in now and he's taking full advantage of it because there's only like 10 of them around, right? It is what it is. He doesn't really care. And I'm just sitting here like, and Carol's like, I'm going to bring the world back. I was like, but you're really not. And like all these other like post-apocalyptic dystopian shows that we see, like they're like horrible apocalypses. And like, this was like kind of a nice apocalypse, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Like people die, but you're still
a billion people died.
Yeah. But you're like, your life didn't change all that much, right? Like you're still doing your thing. And it's not like it's not like The Walking Dead where you're like, I don't know where I'm going to get a shower. This lady's like, I can have a drone fly me a Gatorade and it'll be fine. It's kind of like a weird dystopian apocalypse that you've never seen before. But like, I'm just so bored with most of it. Like I don't care what they're doing most of the time. Like Minoso's wandering in the jungle for like an episode. I was like, okay. And like LP texted me, he's like, is it all like this? I was like, not all of it, but the end really doesn't. The end really didn't impress me at all. Like usually when you have 9 episodes and you're like building to that finale, something's gonna happen. And it's like, well, it happened, and then like, okay, we're gonna go do this now, and then we're gonna wait 2 years or 3 years to get season 2 at this point. And I was just like, finales just felt different back in the day, I guess. Like actual events took place that wanted you to get to season 2, or you want to see what's going to happen now. And like, we talked about Alien Earth before and like taking chances and just doing things. And the show did take chances, but it didn't really give you like an oomph to it or anything like that. Like I want something to happen, and it didn't. And like, this is going to be the second podcast in a row where we talk about species, because like that's how they got this like idea to make the virus. Like they got an alien transmission, and like they're just like, yeah, we're gonna make this in this army hospital, which is what happened in Species. They got a transmission from an alien world. Like, yeah, let's just build this and see what happens. And like no one's watching these video cameras, like while these guys are walking around like kissing everybody in this army, like, station. It's got nobody. It's like, oh, it's a little weird here. And like, it's not. I want it to be good. It's a really good idea. I just don't know what else you do with it, right? Like, there's not that many characters, as we talked about before. There's 10 other survivors. Are they going to convert? Like, how's that going to work? We've already seen, stuff like that happen. I'm just bored with it. Like,
you're basically Carol.
Yeah. Everyone's like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm sitting over here like, it's been done. Like, I've seen this before. And like, usually when you get a show that like peaks at episode 1, you're just like, I don't know where you go from here. Like, you had a really cool idea. You really hit it home, but what else are we going to see? Like, can you continue this into season 2? Or is it going to be like flash forward in the event and all those other shows that fell flat on their face?
The thing is, I'm laughing, but the reality of it is everything he just said is, I mean, that's a big, I mean, I know a lot of people love the show, but there's a lot of people that agree would co-sign on everything he just said. A lot of people think the show is just very boring. The pacing is just painfully slow. And, I mean, that is like, it's valid.
If there was a Pluribus spinoff just following, Kumba, I'd be watching that show on a weekly basis, just watching him off on like adventures, taking Air Force One wherever he wants to go. That's a show I would be interested in watching.
He's also like the biggest fucking loser in the show, though.
Oh, 100%. But he knows it, and he's cool with it.
Yeah, I think that's
to the Hive, he's awesome.
Yeah, I think that he would add a lot. Like, Breaking Bad doesn't follow good people. Hank's not a good person. He's a terrible person, right? This show can follow, poor. Like, my bad. I said no. Hank's a bad guy.
Oh,
I mean, he's terribly verbally abusive to Marie. Treats her like shit.
She keeps naming his rocks.
She's like, oh my gosh, Fritos, Cheetos. They sound.
I mean, there was a lot worse people in the show to choose from, but
does not sound like Cheetos. I mean, Hank's a bad husband. He's been terrible to Marie this entire show. There's not been one moment in Breaking Bad, seasons 1 through the beginning of 4, where Hank has ever been a good husband to Marie.
He's definitely probably the second least bad person on the show.
Which, I'm sorry, he's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. Who's the best person? I like Walt Jr.
Yeah, it's probably
Walt Jr. has no idea what's going on. He's like,
or those like 2 people that Walt torments throughout the show, like his old friends that he just goes back and screams at all the time.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I think that would be interesting to follow a very corrupt individual who takes advantage of these and advantage of this hive mind, and that way you can expand on the world a little bit more and the lore. I don't know how much of that they have built into the show already, but here's the thing: is that the show has already probably a very high budget, and it seems like that character is doing a lot more expensive things than Carol is. So maybe that's a reason that's not. A story arc or a plot point in the show. I don't know.
I love that scene where it was like it was reenacting like Casino Royale, and then like as soon as it's over with, they just all like clean up and just walk away. Like, okay, that's over with. He lived his little fantasy. Okay, we did it.
Like, I love when he was like, "Hey man, stay in character. What are you doing right here? The movie's not over." I'm thinking about like Austin Powers, who's like, "I also like to live dangerously" with number 2 and everything like that. But like, also, I'm just disappointed in finales nowadays because they don't feel final for like that episodic season of that show. Like, and the one that did it the best, like in the recently is Welcome to Derry. That season 1 finale was great. But then you go to these other ones, are just like, we're going to move into season 2 now, where we'll just take off. But like, there's no big inflection point. There's no big like murder reveal or craziness coming in or something like that.
I would disagree with that pretty strongly. I think like the whole show is laying out to you these 2 people and having them come together and have a lot of really great interaction and really interesting conversations at a point when they've both kind of evolved so much I think that was really interesting. And I also just think to go back to the Kumba thing, like I think that would get so repetitive. Like I think it's fun to see like once what he's doing, but I don't need to watch him like jerking himself off. And it's not that he's a bad person; he's just like a fucking loser. Like it's not that I don't want to watch bad people. It's just like he's not an interesting person because there's nothing in his brain. Like there's no interesting thoughts being had. He's just kind of a robot who's just like I'm gonna take advantage of this. So like I feel like that would get really repetitive. Whereas Manusos and Carol actually have like interesting conflict.
Yeah, that is the finale of the show. And I get what you're saying, Jimmy. It is something, I don't know. It's like what happened in the finale you were kind of expecting, but it was culminating into something. I think we were expecting maybe Manusos and Carol not to get along. They didn't get along. And then also the big reveal is that the hive mind is still a little bit sketchy. They're like getting her stem cells off of her eggs. Spoilers now. It's fine. We were talking pretty spoiler open. I think those are two pretty big events that happen is their exchange with one another, which I think the acting there is absolutely phenomenal. And it is really fascinating. I think in the exact same episode, we learn about the eggs and that Helen placed an alarm by the alcohol to detect whether or not she was drinking because she was doing that. And that's a lot of interesting, not exposition, but some interesting character traits about Carol that we didn't know. So there's a lot going on, but it doesn't feel climactic in a way. And I think that's what you're like wanting.
I think we did find out about like she did freeze her eggs. They did mention, I think, when they were in that like ice bar or whatever it was, one of the episodes where they were.
I wanted to go back and rewatch that. Yeah,
I just don't like. I think she understood the entity like better before. Like she's like, so you guys are gonna like still get my eggs, and they're like, yeah, 100%, we're gonna do that. And it's just like, well, what did you expect them to do? Like their whole, reason for surviving is infecting as many people to bring more into the collective, into the hive mind. Like you're not special because you're immune. They just have to get a way to get you there. Are you going to agree to it? Are you not going to agree to it? So it that way.
I also didn't quite understand why she couldn't just say, A, I don't give you permission to do that. B, bring me my eggs now. And then they can't say no and they can't lie. Like I thought that was a little bit.
Maybe she might have been just too hurt because she's in this mental state where she's thinking psychotically that her and Zosha are actually forming somewhat of a connection in a way. So maybe she's just so offended by that. Like, even though she still knows that Zosha is part of the hive mind, she's just so desperate and lonely that she is vulnerable for a connection. And then she gets that news and then she's just just mentally not operating correctly and just leaves without even thinking about even saying that. Maybe that's something that'll open up with season 2. I don't know.
I'm starting to like, we know they can't lie and we know they have to do what she asks, but like how long until the hive mind evolves once it understands humanity? Like, is that possible? Can they start taking on human traits, or like, can they possibly be overpowered from the people that they've absorbed? Like, I don't like, it's not clear how the virus works. That's something interesting to explore. Like maybe it starts to affect like individual people. They can start to break free from that collective if there's a way to get them out of there.
Manusos was trying to do that at the end of in the episode. Yeah. By inducing a seizure and then utilizing the frequency that he found. And then Carol shot at him, which was crazy. But
I like it. Good stuff.
Yeah. Can we talk about Carol in general? Maybe get your guys' thoughts on her as a character. Maybe one at a time.
Yeah, Dan, I'll talk about what I texted you. And you told me I should make a video about this, but I found it really fascinating. I texted Dan this example of the turn that we see in Carol from her character and how she interacts with the hive mind. And I texted Dan and compared it with how I deal and use AI. Because Vince Gilligan has come out and been like, this is not. And anyway, I wasn't thinking about AI when I made this show, but it's very easy for people to see the connection between the two. And I gave Dan a great example. It's the fact that I hate AI. I have probably used it in my life one time purposely. Like I've never chat GPT'd something. I have never downloaded that. But maybe like 2 years ago when AI became a thing and I was starting content creating, I was like, Super Mario Bro movie with Minecraft picture, please. And it popped out some shit. And I'm like, all right, well, that ruined it for me. Can't do what I want. But I hate it. I don't like it. Unfortunately, it's becoming more and more of a thing that it's been a part of our culture. But I told Dan the difference between Manusos and Carol, how they interact with the hive mind, and the fact that Carol, even in her mind, she still just absolutely hates it. But it feels like she just gets so used to it and uses it out of convenience. Uses it as a convenience at a point. And I told Dan, I found myself a week or so ago. I have two search engines on my desktop here. I have Google Chrome and also Safari. I found myself using Safari more than Google Chrome because the way I was searching things on Google Chrome, it wouldn't give me an AI analysis at the very top like it does on everything nowadays. And I'm like, I want to use Safari because it gives me my answer quicker rather than having to go through articles and trying to find it myself. And even though I have this hatred for this technology, it is convenient at times. And I find myself using it even though I don't necessarily want to. And when I saw that happening at Carol and the turn that her character took, I was like, I feel that. I get that. It might be nice to have people in your life who will do literally whatever you want, even though they're not the same, not really humans anymore.
But what's fascinating about that, what you just described, is also how the hive mind works because they work on loopholes, so their whole thing is like, well, we won't kill animals because we're vegetarian, but if you kill the animal, we'll cook it for you. Or, there's that whole thing where John Cena, where he's doing the video about, we won't pluck the apple from the tree, but if the apple falls off the tree, well, then we'll take the apple. It's like, that's the loophole in it. So it's kind of like what you're describing. It's like they too would also agree with you about the AI thing, but they'll use Safari because they get the answer quick. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like this weird kind of, and it's the same with her, with Carol. It's like, no, we're not going, hey, we're going to respect your wishes. We're not going to invade your body. We're not going to go anywhere, but your eggs are over here. That we can do. You know what I mean? So I think
they didn't have to tell her about it. They're like,
no.
You haven't asked about it, so we're going to use it. And the one the loophole that I think stuck out the most to me, besides the egg thing, was when Manusos was almost dead. And we all know 100% that Manusos would not, if he was conscious, would say, please let me die.
Right.
Because he was unconscious, they're like, well, you can't tell us no, so we're going to get you and we're going to revive you, buddy. I was like, well, they're a little tricky like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to making weird comparisons when it comes to like characters and shows and other movies, but like it kind of reminded me of the dynamic between in The Last Samurai between Tom Cruise's character and Katsumoto. Like one is very conservative to how they approach the world, and like Tom Cruise is very in the moment. Like this is how it is now. Like you're living 60 years in the past, man. Those swords ain't gonna get it done against these weapons. And like when Carol Manusos first meet, she's like very open to meeting with like this is how it's gonna work now. Like we have to go through this process, and he's like, I'm not going to do that. But then you see as the episode progresses, he's like, who did you call? All right, I'm going to call those people and do what you did now. Like I'm starting to see this world that I don't really want to accept, but I kind of have to do it to move my position forward almost.
Yeah.
To circle back what Dan, originally, he wants to like talk about Carol. I mean, this is my thing. I've just pulled it up here on my phone. Pluribus, the synopsis is the most miserable person on earth must save the world from happiness. And so, everybody like hyperfixates on, I mean, that's literally the pitch of the show.
Crazy. That's crazy.
That's the pitch of that's the synopsis. And so when everyone talks about, man, I don't like her character, like I would get those comments on my videos and I would always comment back, I think that's the point. I don't think you're supposed to like her. I think she's purposely written to be unlikable. But that's my take on her.
Yeah, I think she's also like, I think they make it so clear she's like a deeply depressed person and also a repressed person who was sent to like conversion therapy, and she's a fucking alcoholic. So like I'm not really sure what I think people, especially, and I think this is more so true with women. And I talked about this. Like male characters get to be the depressed alcoholic who's angry and who's I'm Tommy Shelby, I'm Walter White, I'm Don Draper, insert BoJack Horseman, like whoever the hell it is, and like that's cool, right? He's a Sigma, right? That's cool. and then it's a woman, and it's like, what's her problem? Like, why doesn't she smile
Right.
more? Like,
Yeah.
what's she so bitter about? Why is she such a, this is this is it's so obvious, and there's so many of these male TV protagonists that we love. Like, I talk about Walter White on TikTok, and I have people bugging the fuck out telling me I'm wrong because they think he's some type of hero, or like he actually cares about his fat. Like, Walter White's a narcissist. Like, that's it. That's all it is. Like, and it's like people aren't even able to accept that about those characters. So to have this woman who's just more kind of like a real tangible person, and people not be able to accept that, I find strange. But I will say, on the other side of that coin, I think a lot of some of the criticisms about her are right in terms of like, as a wealthy white woman, her attitude towards the world and situations. And I think you really saw that. Like, episode 7 to me is the entire turning point of this show. Like, episode 5, she found the human bodies, right? She sees that under the tarp. She's in full like investigative mode. That's episode 5. Episode 6, um, she tells us to the other people, and then she gives express consent at the end to not take her stem cells, or she makes sure, she says, don't take my stem cells, and she records the video for everybody else. Episode 7 is the gap, and that's the episode that's just the two of them. I think that's what you're talking about, Stone. That, to me, I think a lot of people didn't like that. Is such a beautiful episode, because you see Carol, who's been so, you know stingent and hell bent on this and so gung ho, and then she gets a little bit of comfort, right? She starts saying, all right, let me go out to dinner. Let me put on a nice dress. Let me drive around in a nice car. Let me go golf. And that's the whole episode. And it's her saying, okay, this isn't that bad. And it's Manusos walking through the fucking Darien Gap. And his car running out of gas, um being in pain, and having to move so slowly, and trying desperately to learn English, right, so he can communicate with Carol. So he's traveling through one of the most dangerous places in the world, um risking his life, doing all this work, learning another language, just to be able to show up to the doorstep of this woman and say, I'm here to help you. And in episode 9, you know he basically has to like talk her into it. After all that, like, she's kind of just tells him, oh, fuck off, like, I'm like, after all that, and I feel
Which
like
is
that's like,
crazy.
yeah, and very entitled. And like, I think
Yeah.
when you watch Carol, to like, she talks down to him, she condescends him, like, I think the show is very obvious with what it's doing there. um and it was after that episode that I was like, I had talked about her before. I made a video on the 7th, and episode 6 was on the 5th, and I was like, Carol's with the shit. And then I started watching after that, and I was like, oh, I was wrong. And it does feel a little bit quick from 6 to 7, and then in 8, like 8, 9, 10, because 8 is when she like sleeps with Zosha, and all that. But again, I think that was a very slow developing thing, where they're literally using the memories of her dead partner and all this stuff to manipulate her, and kind of get her to come around and get her comfortable. So it was patient, and also still felt rushed in a way. But episode 7 to me was the whole turning point.
It's crazy to me that you think that feels rushed, because yeah, there's a huge turn in her character where she's more accepting of the hive mind and of Zosha, but it is like it takes 47 minutes for her to get there, because I feel like it's just it's multiple days where she's just like by herself and being like, okay, like it's like, it even starts with like the Gatorade, which I think is like maybe episode 6, I'm not sure, but I think it still takes it's an entire episode of watching her slowly become okay with it. And then she's like, can you guys please come back? Because she's just lonely.
Yeah.
She's just like, I don't have to be lonely. I don't want to be lonely, no matter how bad I hate these people. And
I also found it.
I get that.
I also found it odd that she went from discovering human bodies and that they're eating people to then just stopping all investigation for like a month. Like
Because they
that
had
to me doesn't
well, there's two
like
things.
you.
Is one, no one's there anymore, so she can only investigate so much. I think once you find out what they eat, I don't know how much further she can go. But then also their reasoning for why they do that is not a bad reason. I kind of get it.
It's a very Soylent Green reason for why. I don't know if you guys ever saw Soylent Green from '73 with Charlton
I read
Heston.
the book.
Yeah, Soylent Green.
Yeah.
It's people. They're like, what is this thing you're eating? It's like, well, it's people. That's what's keeping you fed. That's what's keeping you from going hungry. You're eating the people that are dead at this point.
It's like every single time she tries to get something on them, prove that they're evil in some way, every single time they have an answer for it.
They're like
And
alien lawyers.
Yeah, it's like nice try. And I think she just gets to a point in her character in the story where she's just like, I don't know what else I can get on these guys because because she thought that was it. She took a drive all the way from Albuquerque to Las Vegas. She said, "This is finally when the other 10, the other 11, whatever, will help me, and we'll find a cure for this, and we can switch everyone back." And after all that time, she gets there, and they're just like, "Carol, we know what you know, and this is why." And I'm like, "Damn, shit, that sucks for her."
I'll pose a question to you guys. If you're one of the remaining 10 people, how are you like to the hive mind? What are you doing personally? How do you feel about it if you're in that position?
What a question! Wow.
I'm just asking. I don't. If you're put in that position where all these people are dead and like there's probably no way for you to turn this back, and it's just you and 9 other people, do you go along with it, or are you like the gorilla out in the jungle or something like that? Trying to bring normalcy back.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever accept this. Like, I think the way my brain works is like, I think about everything in terms of like, what is the end? Like, what is the singular end? Like goal or answer or whatever. Like, do people have free will? Are people slaves? Yes, that's it. Like, these people are slaves to something that came from another place. And I feel like you kind of owe it to humanity to at least try to investigate it or look into it or see if there's any type of alternative.
Dude, it's such a small scene, but it's like the scene that shows you how bad that this is for the world and how sad that this is for the world. Is
Episode
that girl
Yeah.
with her goat? Oh, LP. You were probably well in tears with that hit close to home for you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, that is so. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was like that really got me. I'm like, shit, that goat really loves her, and she's just gonna
Yeah.
walk away. That's
On top of that,
devastating.
I also think that scene is so important because it drives home every point about what this is, and like it's the destruction of any culture, right? It's mimicking, this whole cultural, like I can't think of the word I want to use, gathering, and they're chanting, there's music, like, and then when it's done they just drop that shit and walk, like it's all fake. And even if
Yeah.
you want to talk about that same mindset in regards to art, you can think about the Casino Royale scene, and it's like, they're imitating this great scene from a great movie, and then it's just like, oh, we're done, that's it. Like, there's no art, there's no culture, there's no individuality, there's no anything. And what type of world is that? Like, we're not all supposed to be exactly the same. What's the fun in that? I mean,
Jimmy's question just got me thinking about, like, yeah, I mean, I would do the same thing as Dan because I have a family, and I think that's what's so interesting about the way Vince Gilligan thinks, and the way, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a lesser writer would, just because that's easier, right? That's easier to go along with, to understand that, oh, well, what if Carol had a child and lost the child to the hive? But like, no, he doesn't do that. He doesn't take the easy way out. He's like, he always takes the more challenging route, and that's what I really appreciate about him as a writer and just as an artist. But yeah, I mean, and they did touch on that, I think, in like episode 2 or whatever, when she meets the other immune, and there was a woman who was like defending that's like, oh, my child is great, like, doing great or whatever. I don't
Laxmi,
understand.
the Indian lady.
Yeah, it's
I
the lady
don't
that calls her all the time.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand that character because as a parent, I'm like, you lost your kid.
It's
Like, that's not your
delusion.
kid.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
delusion.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, she can just really quickly be like, "Can you just act like my normal kid?" And they'll just act like her normal kid
I
forever.
guess so.
So it's like nothing has changed. So I guess it's just if you can't fix it, if it's not an easy fix, just sweep it under the rug and be like, "All
You're
right,
kind of
you're
hitting
gonna
on something that I thought that's where the show was going. I thought Carol would say to Zosha, "Could you just be her for a moment?" Like you know what I mean? Like in the last episode when they're having
like
the
Helen, act
romantic.
like Helen."
Yeah, can you act like her or something? But they never
Well,
did.
here's
They
the thing:
never
is
went
Helen's
there.
not necessarily a good partner, which I
Yeah.
also find very fascinating. I mean, there's the whole thing with obviously. I mean, it's not. It's all some of it. A lot of it is on Carol because Carol's not necessarily a good person. I mean, she does have some problems in her life. But the whole thing with Helen not reading her book and not really caring, I'm like, damn, that sucks. Especially after someone who's died, and you find that they actually
Yeah.
didn't read your material that you spent probably hours and days and weeks and months on. That sucks. And I think that's way more interesting for a character. She misses and loves this woman, but didn't have necessarily a great relationship with her. So when the hive mind brings you a perfect person, I think it makes the character fall in love with that one easier. And like I said, the thing with her, with Zosha looking like her character from the book is just so perfect. That's like one of my favorite moments of the show. It's so funny.
And I feel like with what they showed you about the book and like with her partner not reading it, but also the kind of vibe around Carol as an author, I feel like there's something to say there too about how I think a lot of women who write that kind of content get talked down to by other authors or get looked at in a way where it's like they're not the same as other creatives or something. And I feel like I think that's an interesting thing that I'd like to see the show deal with more, but I feel like it was kind of hinted at a bit. But I also wanted to say we were talking about Laxmi and her child is part of the hive. Um, to me, when I was thinking about a lot of this stuff, I was thinking about the Matrix as well, and I was thinking about somebody like Cypher, right, who just chooses like
Yeah.
to turn his back on people and to say, I'd rather just enjoy the lie and have the steak, and this tastes like steak. I'm good. I just want to forget that any of this is going on because it's easier rather than going and eating gruel in Zion and fighting against robots every day. Like that is the choice that they had there, and I feel like there is a matrixy element to this show.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also just think, when it comes down to Carol at the end, Carol is selfish. And that's what we see at the end. Carol cares when it's about Carol losing Carol's individuality. And that's the point that gets driven home. She is not Manusos. And, when her little perfect reality gets shattered, now I have to do something, right? But you forgot about everyone else when you had a partner, quote unquote, and your life was comfortable. So like I feel like she really kind of showed her true colors. And again, I think some of that has to do with her being depressed and being in this way and having lost her partner, a couple months ago at this point. But it was eye-opening, I think, for her character.
The reason I asked is because, like you guys, I want to be the person that's like, oh, I would definitely do this. But like when you're put in that situation in reality, would I actually do it? I think I'm more of an ambiguous character than just like I honestly don't know. Like I said, it's an apocalypse, but it's a very nice looking apocalypse. Like you're not sweating. You have the amenities that you'd be used to. Of course, there'd be like 10 other people in the world, and everybody else would be an alien, basically. But you're like, I'm still comfortable. Like it's just. Could you and like it's like me right now? What do I do? I'm not a scientist. I can't possibly be the one to fix this. So it's like, who else is out there? They can't lie. Are there other people out there possibly that we don't know about outside the 10 that maybe they don't know about? Like maybe like an untouched tribe or something like that. I don't know how.
I'll give you an interesting answer. I didn't answer. I would want to say that I'm like Dan and LP, but I live next to like Disney World and Universal Studios. I just went to Epic Universe for the first time. They have this ride called Stardust Racers. Fun as hell. So I'd be like, contemplating how are we going to treat the hive mind, how are we going to get out out of this, how are we going to fix the world. But as I'm doing that, I'd probably ask them to like run the ride over and over and over again, and that can really concentrate while I'm like going 70 miles an hour and doing loop-de-loops and stuff.
Your other option is to just get as close to them as possible, make yourself invaluable to them to see if you know the answers. But I mean, Carol's not going about it that way. Like, she's very abrasive in her conversations with them. But if you want to make yourself like, maybe they don't understand the human condition of like lying and manipulation and stuff like that. Like, they have the thoughts of them, but I don't know if they truly get it. You know, it's kind of like we were talking about the aliens from Galaxy Quest before. Like, they don't really get humanity as a whole, but they're also not taking them over. But they didn't understand lying and deception and stuff like that.
I also, speaking of Galaxy Quest, if this show goes 4 or 5 seasons, I would love to see this show go to space. I would love to see them try to go to the source.
I want to see every show go to space.
I think that would be really, really, really interesting. And that, I mean, at that point, the options are endless with what you can do writing wise. That's what I would like to see.
I don't think it's going to happen. It's kind of like, obviously,
if I was betting on it, I would say no, but I would like to see that.
Same.
I mean, you could get like a story where it's like they took over another civilization. You might be able to see that for like an episode or something like that.
That'd be sick.
You know, just on another planet, what those other individual, or if they're even humanoids or something like that. You don't know.
Do you realistically see this going 4 or 5 seasons? Like, I'm thinking 3 max.
I don't know how you could get 4 or 5 seasons. I'm surprised you could get 2, but that's just me.
I think Vince has said that he has about 4 seasons planned. And
really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's already greenlit for season 2. And supposedly this is the most watched series, I believe, like ever on Apple TV.
Which blows my mind. That's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
So it looks like it's in pretty good hands to probably get those 4 seasons that he wants.
That is wild.
And beating Ted Lasso too, like
that's crazy.
People love Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso is on 4 seasons, I believe, right now, or just got done with his 4th season. Speaking of crazy, all right, I need everyone to put on their LP thinking cap right now. So we're looking at everything with Manusos. Everything with the hive mind, with the frequency, with what he's whispering to them, with the colors, right? I don't think the colors have to do necessarily with the lore. What do you think is going on, LP? What put on your costume, put on your yellow shirt. Like, imagine you're making a video and you're pointing at a whiteboard and you just drew something. What am I pointing at? Why is Manusos like listening to a frequency? What does the frequency have to do with the hive mind? Why is it changing when they're having a seizure? I gotta know.
I mean, it's just like they're all on some sort of signal that's how they're all connected or whatever. And he's figured out, okay, so whenever they, I don't know, whatever you want to call that, power down or whatever, and they disconnect or whatever, this is the signal that picks up when he like lays the radio on the, I don't know. It's like,
wait. Wasn't that the frequency that relayed the message to Earth?
Was it?
I think the frequency is the message that contains the sequence for the thing that was created. I think.
Okay.
Which I think is constantly being communicated, but I'm not 100% sure.
My lab coat is over there. I'll put it on, and then so if that's true, there's a theory that I kind of thought of that I was like, oh, that would be interesting if that's where they're going with it. So, you see Manny like in the final episode. It's very brief though, but he's like reading all these books and stuff. And there's something it was talking about like a relay or something like that. I can't remember. It's like a reverse, but essentially, they touched on, Zosha told Carol that we are going to build a huge antenna and we're going to like spread it to like another planet or something. I was looking at what he was reading, and there is a theory that like, okay, they could boost that same signal back to the home planet where it came from, and it would X each other out, and that would theoretically make the virus void, and everyone would theoretically go back to normal. So that could be a potential plan that like he's cooking up. That could be where he's heading in season 2. Like, he may want them to make that antenna, which of course Carol, being Carol, is going to be like, no, I'm going to use my atom bomb to blow up that antenna. I'm going to get rid of that antenna. I don't know. But that's my real theory, because in my video that I took
Camera
that
bomb.
literal, but a lot of people think that no, she's not being literal. That's not a real atom bomb. What is your all's theory on that? On that final shot?
I think it's a bomb. It looks like
It's probably a bomb.
It's an
It looks like
Oppenheimer.
a bomb to me. Yeah. I thought that I read that way also, but man, a lot of people in my comments were disagreeing. They're like, no, it's not a literal bomb. That's not what she means. And it's like, I don't know. I think Carol is standing on business. I think she means that.
100% a real bomb.
I think you could look at it kind of like Get Out, like when they're having that seizure. Is there a way to kind of like remember in Get Out when he flashed the camera at him and he kind of brought out the person that it was before? Is there a way to bring them back in the middle of the seizure? Like, are they still in there, but like watching from afar, more or less, like trapped in their own head?
And I do wonder if that is what happened to Zosha, but we'll never know because after she had her big episode, they hightailed it out of there. They got her out of there, put her in the hospital or whatever. And the next time we saw her, I mean, she was connected back. And then when you think back on what that woman's life looked like before joining the Hive, it makes sense that she was probably willing to join back. She was happier that way.
Yeah.
Can I think deeper than I'm supposed to?
Of course, Alex.
I don't think it's a coincidence that there is a possibility that the real humans behind the hive mind are showing up when they're getting yelled at or when danger is afoot, because that is reality. Like that, there's nothing more human on Earth than being in danger or being yelled at. Like what the hive mind is doing throughout this show is not normalcy. Like everything isn't happy-go-lucky all the time. Like when you're getting screamed at, that's reality. And I think that's not a coincidence that is what is shocking them back to possibly like, oh shit, like this is real life, this is Earth, like this is, you know what I'm saying? This doesn't feel like paradise anymore. I'm getting screamed at, and then there's a possibility that the real person is coming out.
I also think it's so funny that we have this show now. When things are so polarized and people are so at each other's throats and the world is so violent, having this show where the enemy is the exact opposite of that is so intriguing. But I also simultaneously think that like in the kind of internet age we're in, while there is so much terrible stuff in the world, I think a lot of people are really uncomfortable with confrontation in any way or confrontation in real life. And I think people have this internet mindset where they can say whatever they want on there, but when someone steps to them in real life, they're like, oh shit, what's happening? And it's like, this is not the internet. Like I'm right here in flesh and blood. And I feel like it's kind of a funny parallel there to like,
so many people,
I think there are people that are
so many people
unable to
don't
handle.
want this. They don't want the smoke, more or less, is what it is.
I tried to fight Dan when I saw him in New York City, and he backed down.
Yeah.
I saw that there. I was like, oh, they're going.
Yeah, he's like, I got a bad foot. And I was like, yeah, you do. You're gonna have two bad feet.
Then you fell through that table, right?
Shout out to that guy. Hope he's all right.
He's alive. I know he's alive.
What do you guys want to see in season 2? Anything
Cool
in particular?
shit.
I want to see Carol nuke some of these aliens and then say, "Now and become death, destroyer of worlds." That'd be sick.
So an Oppenheimer bomb.
Can I say one thing? Is I really like how this show has like it's very broad and it's very international. Like bringing all these countries together and like talking about this problem. It seems realistic, obviously, but I don't know. I just like that for a story. I like that we have a guy from Paraguay and somebody from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I want to see some rogue hive minders, people that kind of just break away from it, and they kind of like, maybe we can help bring humanity back. They just start to have like, feelings and stuff of that nature, like the Borg in Star Trek. They have like 7 of 9 and stuff like that. You didn't think you could break them from that collective, but
Love
once
some
they
7 of
are,
9.
yeah. I mean, especially if Jerry Ryan showed up in the show, yeah, I'd be down for that.
I feel like you're gonna get that Zosha. I mean, I think she's on the verge of maybe something happening there. Like that. That's your.
That would feel so easy, though, right? If she gets her lover to like break away, and then they can save humanity together. Like,
well, it's fascinating because obviously the person that she was before the hive mind is not going to be in love with Carol, or will she even know English? I don't know.
No.
So I don't even know how they're going to even. Yes, does that seem like the way they'll probably go? Yeah, but I don't know how they're going to do it.
I mean, it could be like Kusamayo, the one that was like initiated in the last episode. Like, we don't know if they're like, entry into the hive is permanent, right? Like she was immune before, could like possibly her body or her cells or something like that evolve past that and she can come back in some way or something like that. I don't, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things you can do with it. I mean, they've been immune before. Just because you have their stem cells doesn't mean that they can just stay there forever.
I would like to see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, LP.
I would like to see it just get a little bit more heady with like something that I kind of wish this season would have touched on, and it just doesn't. But like, okay, the Kumba character, right? Like he's hooking up with all these women, and it's like they don't go there, but it's like, okay, but you're hooking up with all these women, but aren't you also hooking up with everyone else in the world? Like you're also hooking up with everyone that's connected. You're hooking up with like that one. I mean, again, I don't want to like get too weird here, but like I kind of wish they would have delved into that a little bit. But like I don't know if Vince Gilligan is interested in that. It just doesn't seem like that's what he's wanting to. But I wish it would get a little bit more heady with that type of stuff, you know?
I mean, my take on like I think Kumba's a rapist. To be
He
totally
is.
blunt,
I don't
Like,
mean to
yeah.
laugh. Sorry.
no. I mean, it's very blunt, but like, and I honestly think, especially with Carol's whole objective is to bring these people back, and she's having sex with someone, and her
Yeah.
plan is still to, like, that person's gonna come back and be like, did you have sex with my body? Like
Right.
that's rape. Like, especially when she and like once Kumba knows that that's Carol's plan, he's
Yeah.
just a rapist. Like it's what he is, and that's another reason I'm just like that guy's a piece of shit. Like
Yeah.
he's just taking advantage of the situation.
Like I said, the way that they bring back Zosha and that character, she's got to have some memory, and there's got to be a little bit of Zosha in there, or it's going to be strange.
I do foresee him maybe eventually going there though, because I mean this is a guy that wrote on X-Files, and Breaking Bad does have some horrific moments. You know, it's not a horror show, but it definitely has moments where you're like, whoa, this is messed up. And like I could see this show eventually going there. But again, that's not the focus of it, but it will certainly have those moments where you're like, oh wow, they're going there. They're touching on this. So that's what I want to see happen.
Yeah, and the show, I mean, it already showed it was willing to get a bit darker with the the dead bodies and the like. That whole sequence was really cool.
Yeah.
Really spooky. So I enjoyed that.
I think the funniest scene, I just wanted to say this real quick because Stone was talking about the scene he found the funniest. I think for me, the funniest was the very first time she says to the guy across from her, she goes, so I can just ask for anything. And he's like, yeah, anything you want. She's like, how about an atom bomb? And then his reaction, he goes, why would you want one? You know? I thought that was so funny.
I mean, it could, but why would you need it?
Yeah.
If this show's gonna run for 4 seasons, I want to see Kumba reenact 4 different Bond movies. Like I want to see Goldfinger.
They need to do that every
I want to
season,
see Golden. I just want to see like a different Bond, like tuxedo, like a different, like he does a Timothy Dalton, then a Roger
Dude,
Moore.
you're in
then
love
a
with
Brosnan.
that character. Holy shit.
That scene was so funny, and especially when the other guy broke character. He's like, wait, we're not done yet. Stay in what you're doing. I haven't won the hand yet.
Well, you know, to back up something that Stone said earlier about Vince Gilligan has got money now. Like I was reading before we hopped on this pod, and I didn't even, this story missed my radar, but this show was originally like in a huge bidding war between Apple and Netflix. And of course, Apple won the bid because Apple
got it.
Oh, I know. But because, but I don't think people realize Apple has an absurd amount of money. Like it's insane the amount of money.
I wish they
they've
had
got.
bought Warner Brothers. They were my number one pick for Warner Brothers. Because like how perfect would it have been if like HBO Max, I mean, this is what
Were
HBO
they
used to
trying?
be.
Were they in the
No,
were they trying
not
to
really.
They weren't trying, were they?
I mean, it was always just Universal, Paramount, Netflix. It was just like of the people who could, I was like, because they
Do
don't
you think
really
that's
have
because Netflix sees the writing on the wall with Stranger Things ending and they're like, we need a catalog. We need Harry Potter. We need some things on because we're out of shows at this point.
No, I just think they want to buy up everything.
I have an incredible idea for a Harry Potter series, but it's just a Kingsley Shacklebolt series, which is like Shaft, and he just goes around solving mysteries for the Ministry, and it would be incredible.
There you go. Do it.
I don't know about that.
And the guy from Severance, what's his name? Tillman Trammell will play Kingsley Shacklebolt.
There you go.
I think we got to like Kingsley Shacklebolt rest.
Hey.
Along with Cho Chang and Seamus Finnegan. But
I will say my favorite moment of the series though is of Pluribus is when Minuso says, "You're not my mother. My mother's a bitch." I was like, that's pretty good. That is like I completely understand why this character has the mindset he does about this hive mind. I mean, seeing somebody who's just a terrible person so close to you have a complete 180 and be so kind is such an alarming thing to be like, okay, the world's messed up right now and I need to fix it because I don't know who the hell that is.
But you know, Dan, if that's the video, I think I don't know. You said you were going to make a video on something earlier, and I don't know if that's what it was. But you know, you were talking earlier about the point about like people get upset when a woman's angry or something. Like that's something I kept seeing about Manusos was everybody would talk about like he's so gangster, he's so cool. I love that. I love how the guy is like. That would be a great video to compare those two. It's like why is it okay when he does it, but when she does it, it's a problem.
What a badass.
Yeah, and I when I made that video on the 7th, I was like, what's gonna happen next is we're gonna see Manusos be like this, and people are gonna say he's awesome, and that's exactly what happened. But
that's
at
exactly
the
what
same
happened.
time, at the same time, a lot of different criticisms of Carol did end up being kind of right. So, and I do think she was really selfish. So like, again, I enjoy being wrong. I think it's interesting. Like I like that the show didn't just is willing to make you think and
subverted your expectations big time.
So do you guys think that if they were not, if they didn't discover the eggs, if the eggs was not a factor, do you think she just would have kept going along with it?
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's just easier at that point. I think like
you think she's just giving in, yeah.
She was enjoying her life. She was really enjoying
it. I think to be honest, she valued reality. She valued Zosha more than she valued Manusos as the person. Like
and that's
to be
bad.
Real. Yeah.
Dang, yeah. That's a yeah.
What's that line from The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance? When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. She just wants to live in her own reality at that point.
Yeah.
And also like a walking encyclopedia of like movie and TV references.
My dad made me watch a lot of Westerns and old movies back in the day.
Nice.
And also, this is kind of messed up, but I think the other element of Zosha that she enjoys is she just tells Zosha what to do. Like she almost acts like she owns her. Like to be again really blunt. Like and it's not a good look either.
I mean, I haven't finished Breaking Bad, but I'm assuming that Mr. Walter White becomes more so Heisenberg than Mr. White towards the very end.
Goddamn right.
Would you like it if that happens with Carol? Like if she becomes more so of a villain in the story and abuses these people?
When you say these people, who do you mean?
Yeah, who do you mean? Because they're technically not people.
It takes advantage of them, takes advantage of this hive. They are still people. The people are still in there somewhere. Abuses their bodies at least and takes advantage of these people who can.
I think
that's the difficult part. That's the difficult part though, because you're like, take advantage of them. Well, they are the antagonists. So if she is taking advantage of Zosha, but like you said, you have to think beyond the hive mind and think about the fact that the person is still in there somewhere.
Well, I think
it's tough.
I think raping someone is different from like, what are you talking about? Like, I think there's very different conversations. Like, if there's collateral damage of the hive mind that occurs as you're progressing towards a goal, that's to me is different than just like using them as like pleasure. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a very different thing. I think like Manusos already showed he has the attitude of like, I'm going to put this guy into his seizure mode. People are going to die, but I have to do this there's no other way for them to figure things out. Like again, that might just be my brain and how I think like it's, you do this and move forward or you don't. Like it's, I don't know.
Did you guys watch the show The Leftovers?
I've heard so many good things about it.
I've heard incredible things.
It's fantastic. It's one of the best shows that. But okay, like I would love to see a season of this series done like The Leftovers. I'm not going to spoil it, but like The Leftovers is just like this crazy world event happens, and then you sort of see the aftermath of that. Of like how people are dealing with it. Some people are really okay with it. Some people are not okay with it at all. And you're just seeing how everybody's wrestling with it. And I think what would be fascinating is what if at the end of season 2, they reverse this? And then season 3, like everyone goes back to normal. And then season 3 is
Ooh.
all about everybody, the aftermath of some people being like, yay, I'm back. But then a lot of people, like Zosha's character, being like, I was happier.
Ooh, I
You
would
know?
really like that. That's a
That would
good
be really
idea.
fascinating.
Oh.
Because I'm just like imagining when you say he's got 4 seasons planned, I'm like, how could you stretch this concept for 4? That would be a way to do it. And because I think about, did you guys watch the show Buffy
Of course.
by any chance?
Every episode twice.
Me too. There's an episode of Buffy where Buffy dies, spoilers. And the characters and the characters get really worried because they're worried that she went to hell, So they resurrect her and they go through all this crazy stuff. They resurrect her and then that she comes back and you can tell she's very like just weirded out by like reality. And they're like, oh, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they're like, oh, we had to bring you back because you were in hell. And she's like, I wasn't. Turns out she was in heaven and she was like way better off, and now you've brought me back to earth, which feels like hell in contrast. So I think that would be really interesting to do here with this concept,
Don't forget there was a Buffy robot, the Buffy bot.
Yeah. Who could forget?
That's so, I mean, I don't think that they'll do that though, because that is the excuse of the hive mind of why what they're doing is okay.
But not everyone would agree. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it would be like The Leftovers, where it would be very like fractured. It would be very like people would be really like, so like a lot of people would be like, oh, thank God we're okay now, and then but then a lot of people would be like, I kind of liked it before,
It's funny when it comes to the Leftovers. Sorry, when it comes to The Leftovers, it's like I really liked the first season, and then the second season was just weird, and then the third season was really good. But like I feel like every show has that weird season. It's a weird show to begin with, but the second one was really strange.
I would argue The Leftovers is weirder than this show.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
way weirder. Yeah,
like crazy religious people running around.
Yeah, it's a good show though.
I think to sum it up, but what I would like to see the show do is just like take chances and do interesting things. Don't get comfortable.
Take chances all the time. Risks.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing we don't really have a clear picture of what it looks like inside the brain of Zosha. Like it could be like she's her, but it almost feels like you're on some type of medication, right? Where you're just, this is how you're going to be, and you can't quite deviate that much, but like you still are sentient, you're still yourself, you're still conscious, or it could be like, did you guys ever read the Animorphs books back in the days?
Heck yeah, I got them over here on my bookshelf.
It could be like the Yerrick, right? Like you don't have control over your body, like you have lost control to this alien thing, and it's in your body, and that's it could be something like that. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Those books were so good.
They were so good.
The TV show
So good.
Wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good. No.
What you're saying,
great
Dan,
stuff.
it makes you want to keep on watching. It's fascinating. Speaking of, things that want to make you keep on watching, I hope that everyone has enjoyed LP and Jimmy being on our episode today for the Pluribus season 1 review. Check back in 3 years when we have them on for Pluribus season
Oh my gosh.
season 2. That's how long it took for Severance, right? I think
Severance will be just starting their season 3 then too, probably.
Yeah, that'll be a great year. We'll have probably Jimmy and LP on that for that too. There we go. So mark your calendars 3 years from now. But
hopefully I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we're all still here. Hopefully we're not part of the hive mind or in the ground. But Jimmy, do you want to tell people where they can find you if they've enjoyed their time with you?
Sure. You could find me on X, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook under Movie Death Blow or Movie Death Blows. If you've seen Big Bald Head and me, that's me.
Somebody who's not so bald anymore. Next up, Mr. Longmire.
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram.
How's the IG life treating you?
I mean, I just don't. I'm not posting enough. I need to do better. It's just not.
You've probably already passed me in followers. Probably.
He has a Twitter account. I'm the only person that follows him, but he has one.
Yeah, I see. I forgot I had one. I'd never post on it. I need to do better about it. I know it's a thing.
Everything takes
that's
so
my-
much time. Like,
It's my 2026 resolution. I'm gonna start posting on other stuff.
So I'm gonna try to post 2 videos a day. That is 2026's goal. I don't know if I can do that, but
Do all of you post on Facebook?
I have just started gaining like traction on my videos on Facebook. A lot of it is calling me dumb as shit, but I don't care. It still gives like views and likes. So
That's par for
the big thing was, dude, and my post that went pretty viral like everywhere was the whole maybe I am just media illiterate, and that's what people were calling me out for. But speaking of, we're talking about Stranger Things 5 next week on the podcast. So everyone, please subscribe, like, whatever, and be looking forward to that. Hopefully it'll be a good finale. But the whole Jonathan and Nancy scene, I was like,
looking at your face.
I was perplexed. I didn't necessarily get that they broke up, to be honest. It's a 10-minute long sequence about them breaking up. And maybe I was distracted in some way. I don't know. But
no, because when the Duffer Brothers,
I asked my wife the following morning. I'm like, before I posted the video, I was like, hey, she's sleeping. I'm like, hey, did you know that Jonathan and Nancy broke up? She was like, what?
You're like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, I was like, did that last night? She's like, no, I didn't know that. I was like, sweet, I'm about to post a video on it. And then I ran my office area that I'm in here now. But yeah, like you used to hear about CLP. The Duffer Brothers came out and they're like, by the way, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like, okay, by the way, you're making it pretty obvious right now that you didn't write it that well.
Yeah, because I saw some people comment on your video and they were like trying to say like it was obvious they broke up, and I'm like, the fact that the Duffer Brothers had to come out and like that, come on, that's bad writing.
Well, the similar thing was, which is way worse, is that they came out and said like Mike understood that he was the Tammy that Will was talking about. Like Mike knew that Will was talking about him. I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's no way to get that.
Bad writing.
Yeah.
Dan, you're not missing out on much over there on Stranger Things. But if people are excited about the finale, please tune in next week when I talk about it with some guests. It's only going to be me. No Dan, no Connor. It's not just going to be me. I'm going to have some people on, hopefully. But should be an interesting conversation. I'll wear something Stranger Things. I have like one shirt. Not that people are going to tune in just for that. But anyways, Movie Death Blow, LP Longmire. Please follow our guests on their platforms that they talked about. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode. I don't know if they're a Predator, Alien, Apple TV show. You guys are it.
Yes.
So I don't know when we're going to have them back on, but they will be back on one day. But until next week, until then, guys, please have a happy New Year's. Hope you all had a great Christmas. Watch some good movies. Go ahead and watch. Dan, what's that movie with Nick Offerman? Sovereign. Yeah. Go ahead and watch that movie to end 2025. Very underrated gem. But sit on a park bench and touch some grass and call up some buddies and make sure they're doing all right. And we'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.